Amazing, so we are going to be using a wall for our practice today. You can see my mat's up against a wall. If you haven't got a wall close by or that's bare, don't worry, I will give you options and there'll be lots of other things that you can do, but we are going to be doing some postures up the wall, which makes it a little bit more restorative for the body. Okay. If you haven't got a wall, you know what I mean. If you haven't got a wall that's empty. I know everybody's got walls. Okay, so welcome everybody to your Friday night yoga session. My name is Jasmine, for those of you that haven't practiced with me before. This session tonight is really, really restorative and really relaxing, I hope you'll find. So make sure you've got minimal distractions, or other people in the house know that this time is for you. As I said, we are going to be using the wall for our practice. If you haven't got space on the wall, or you've kind of got things in the way, don't worry, there'll be certain poses that you can do away from it, or you can do the whole thing away from it. The point of using the wall is to really be a prop, an assistance for our body, so we don't have to work as hard, basically. So it's designed to allow you to do less. We live in a society where we think that doing more and being better is always better, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's much better for us to pull back and to take some time to rest, digest, and to repair, which essentially is what we're going to be doing in our session this evening. So, I'd like you to come to a seated position. I've got my mat doubled over just because I prefer a little bit more cushioning for this sort of practice, but you can have it long, you can have a towel on the floor, you can be sat on the bare floor. So you can come to a comfortable seated position, but wherever you are, if you're using a wall today, just make sure the back is propped against the wall. So you've got a little bit of support for the back. A lot of the time, if we're new to meditation, sitting in this position for long periods of time causes the back a little bit of bother. So just be mindful that you don't have to always sit away from the wall. You can have that prop there for you. And we're going to start by connecting in with our breathing. So I'd like you to interlace the hands and place the hands behind the head. And as you breathe out now through the nose, just allow the body to round and cave down and just release. And as you breathe in through the nose, allow the elbows to draw backwards, the chest to pull forwards, and see if you can draw the arms to the wall. And then as you exhale through the nose, we just feel the weight of the head, the weight of the arms, just stretching out the back of the neck. We calm down. And on the in-breath, we open the arms, we open the chest. When you get to the top, see if you can have a micro pause. We just pause for a second, retaining the breath. And then as we exhale, we just feel the body releasing down, stretching out in between the shoulder blades, emptying the lungs completely. We're going to take a few more rounds of these, really trying to slow the breath down, breathing through the whole of the rib cage, the whole of the diaphragm and belly. So we work in such a fast-paced life and a fast-paced environment that we rarely take the time to slow down and really connect with those innate things that make us human and make us alive. So really just massaging through the muscles in the upper back, in the chest. Let's just take one more breath together here. Exhale completely. And then inhale fully, really slowing the breath down. Micro pause, and then we're going to release those arms down by the sides. Okay, so just taking a slight lean over to the side now. You can keep the back attached to the wall, and we're going to take one arm down by the side. So we're just allowing the body to droop. Minimal effort here, really. And then we're going to just allow the body to melt like butter over that front thigh, and then walk all the the way over, so we're relaxing over the legs. Now you might come to here or even higher and find that quite intense. Maybe you can walk the hands out further. I don't want there to be any activity in the arms. We're really just allowing the body to be passive, to be relaxed. Maybe you want to turn the palms upwards in a sign of offering, just allowing the palms to be receiving energy. And really working with the weight of the head here, so if you can, we nod the head down. Sticking with that nasal breathing passage, we breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the nose. Slowing the breathing down one more time, deep breath in and full breath out. And then we're going to walk the hands back up, coming all the way up into sitting again, and we're going to cross the legs the other way. So take the other leg in and cross the other one forwards. Once again, we're feeling the weight of the back against the wall, we're fully supported. Arms come down by the sides, and we're just going to slide over to the other side, just allowing the body to release over. Like butter we've melted. Again, minimal effort here, we're going to start to release over, bringing the body weight down. Feeling the hips starting to open, starting to mold as we come over the legs. So just check in for a moment and see how this side feels. This will be your least active side because it's the side that you are not used to crossing your legs in, as you inherently went to the other one first. So just check in with how this feels. Maybe you need a little shift. Maybe you just want to kind of move the femur, so the thigh bone, forwards and backwards, just shifting the contact of that long bone in the pelvis. As you start to settle in, feel the sit bones rounding into the floor, so we've not lifted in the bottom, but they're firmly planted, and then we might see if we can explore a little bit of length in the body. Still relaxing, still really surrendering to each movement. See if you can take that deep nasal passage with the breath. We breathe in through the nose, direct it to the belly. And then breathe out from the nose, completely and entirely. One more breath here together, we breathe in. Full breath out, exhale. Start to slowly walk the hands back in, slow and methodically. We come back to sitting. And in your own way, we're going to come forwards onto our knees. And we're going to walk the knees back so the knees are kind of at the wall. And we're going to come over onto our front. So we're going to come into a version of seal pose. So I'd like you to bring the forearms onto the floor. Now the knees are at the wall and the shins are resting on the wall as well. So we've just taken that 90-degree angle at the knees. The forearms are on the floor with the elbow underneath the shoulders, and we're feeling that sense of the arms pulling the chest forwards. So you feel a sense of the heart dragging and opening forwards, the shoulder blades squeezing, and a slight lift of the chin. Now some of these poses we come into, we're going to really hold for a long period of time, so moving into more of a practice of yin yoga. Those of you that are familiar, yin is the feminine energy within the body, which we all have, male and female, don't worry then. It's the restorative, it's the passive, but it's the powerful energy within us. So there will be times that I take my voice back and just allow you to really connect with how you're feeling in each posture. We're going to hold this pose for 2 more minutes. You've got a choice of staying here if this back bend is enough for you. If you need a little bit more, you can bring the hands down to the floor and you can push up into a little bit more of an intense version of seal. So not like cobra, where the hands are directly under the shoulders. Seal is a little bit wider with the hands and a little bit more further forwards. So you can feel this is a little bit more intense for the back. And then you can start to work with opening the throat but not dropping the head back. So from wherever you are in your version of this back bend, in your version of seal, we're going to really just try and take a few moments to connect internally. So if that means closing your eyes, if that means observing sensations in your body, just take some time to really experience this practice for yourself. If the mind becomes distracted, gently guide it back. Last 20 seconds here, really exploring that back bend to your depth. Take a deep breath in through the nose here, and then exhale through the mouth. Allow it to go like a sigh, then slowly coming out of the back bend. Really take your time, enjoy this moment to recover and to bring the body out. So we're going to push back into a child's pose. So we're going to come up onto the knees. Nice, and slowly take your big toes together and then bring the knees a generous width apart. So wider than the hips, almost the width of the mat. We sit the hips onto the heels and we release the arms forwards. So just feel the back moving in that opposite direction. It should feel really nice, really good as a contrast from that back bend. Now if the forehead doesn't meet the floor, you can bring the hands to fists, and then you can rest your third eye, so that space in between the eyebrows, you can rest it on the hands. Maybe your forehead meets the floor and you can just take a moment to feel that sense of contact, the support from the floor, from the earths below. So sometimes in a child's pose you'll be asked to lengthen the arms, but really I want the arms to just be relaxed on the floor, so just allow them to go heavy. Really feeling how that breath travels into the rib cage, expanding the lungs. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and then as you exhale through the mouth, sigh. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, we're going to push the floor away and just come up onto the knees. We're going to come into a standing posture now to really open up through the backs of the legs. Now we're only doing 2 standing postures for today's practice, so it is really, really gentle. So we're going to come into a standing forward fold. So I'd like you to tuck the toes under and bring the flats of the feet down to the floor. Now my feet are about 2 foot maybe away from the wall. So I want there to be space for your bottom to kind of rock backwards. If you're particularly loose in the backs of the legs, maybe you can walk the heels closer to the wall. Maybe you can start to straighten out those legs. But really I want you to be as passive and as relaxed in this position as possible. So how do we do that, you ask? You rest your hips on the wall. So use the wall behind you to allow the hips to drop back on. If there is pain, and I don't mean an edge, but pain in the backs of the knees or the backs of the thighs, just soften the knees. Take a slight tuck to the chin, so we're stretching the whole of the posterior chain, and bring the hands so we've crossed the arms if possible. So we're coming into a standing ragdoll. Just give yourself just a few moments to maybe move and shift in a way that feels good for your body. And then after you've had that time, just come to a place of stillness and arrive in the posture in your own way. So finding a shape for your body that works for you. Even though we are released over the legs, the body is curved over, still send the breath into the belly. If you feel an urge to fidget or move, then that's a sign that you've gone a little bit too deep into the pose. So with the in postures, really, you want to come to about 60, 70, 80% maximum. That's your edge, and we hold here. Just check there's no tension in the jaw, there's no tension in the back of the neck. The shoulders are dropping down, crown of the head dropping down. So we hold this pose for 1 more minute together, directing the breath into the belly, into the backs of the legs. Taking some time to be present. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth and sigh. Releasing those arms, slowly just start to walk the hands up the legs. Again, minimal effort, we're really being slow and steady. And we're coming up into a standing position. Just take some time to maybe tread through the feet, backs of legs. And we're going to take a wide stance with the legs now. So this is probably the most active pose we're going to be doing today. I'd like you to take the legs a little bit narrower than if you were going to do a wide leg forward bend. We're going to come into triangle. Now the reason I want us to do this against the wall is so we work with keeping that top shoulder lifted. Often in triangle people release that shoulder down and we want to stay open through the body. So turn your right foot out towards the right side, left foot is still facing forwards. Take the arms up to shoulder height, and then leaving the hips behind, we're going to start to reach forward with that right arm. Now again, normally in triangle we stay lifted and we stay engaged. Really, I'd like you to relax into it as much as possible while keeping that shoulder attached to the wall behind you. If the space you're using doesn't have the space to do this with the wall, you can do this without the wall. So you don't need to use anything behind you, you can just do this in the middle of the room. That's how we normally take triangle. Seeing if you can gaze up at that top arm, feeling the openness in the chest. We're going to hold for just 2 breaths here. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just rotate that left shoulder a fraction more to the sky. One more time, deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale, rotate that shoulder opening through side body. And then on your next in-breath, soften the right knee, come up to standing. And we're going to reverse the other way. So turn the right foot to face front. And the left foot is going to face out, and we externally rotate through that left leg. Arms come up to shoulder height, moving into Trikonasana, triangle pose on the other side. So leave the hips behind you as you reach forwards. Now this is the point normally that people think, I've got to touch my toe, and then their arm and their shoulders drop down here. But really it's not about touching your toe, it's about staying in one plane of movement. It's almost like it's a very thin corridor that we are going to be standing in. And again, you can bring the weight into that bottom arm. I'm not too worried about staying lifted. I want to work with the opening of that shoulder and chest. So really feeling that top shoulder in contact, or at least towards the wall. If you're miles away from it, maybe you need to come up higher and stay there. So can you gaze up at that top hand, and we're going to breathe here together for just 2 rounds of breath. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, open through top shoulder, squeeze it backwards. Last one, deep breath in. And exhale, squeeze that shoulder backwards. As we inhale, now we soften the left knee, we come up to standing. And just take your time to bring those legs together. And we're going to turn around now to face the wall. If you're not using a wall or you don't have the space for this, again, you can do it without a wall, no problem. So we take the legs wide, we're going to come into, well, in yin we call this dragonfly. So we've got a wide positioning of the legs on the wall. And again, we don't want there to be any engagement through the legs. We're thinking floppy feet, relaxed legs. Just take a moment for the hips to arrive in this external rotation. We're going to bring the hands through to prayer. So the hands are at prayer. And I'd like you to bring the hands to the wall. So for some of you, this might be a little bit much. You might feel a really intense lengthening in the inner thighs. So just find your edge. Remember, about 70%, and we hold. For those of you that are a little bit more mobile in this position, you might be able to edge your legs a little bit wider, your hips closer. Hands can come to third eye. So your third eye is the space in between your eyebrows, and you can rest the hands and the forearms on the wall. And we have just one more option for those of you that want to join the circus. We can move the hips closer, maybe the legs wider. And this time we bring the arms up higher so the forehead comes to the wall and the hands are in prayer over the top of the head. So you've got 3 variations to work with. If you're not using the wall, just take the hands out in front of the legs and release over in dragonfly as you would in a normal yin class without use of the wall. Now here work with anteriorly shifting the pelvis in space. So we're thinking about rotating the pelvis slightly anteriorly, still keeping the sit bones on the floor, but just playing around with how that opens up inner thighs. Now we hold here together for just 3 breaths. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through the nose. Last breath together here. Slowly start to move the body away from the wall. Bring the hands back behind you. Bring the hips backwards and bring the feet in. We're going to come all the way down onto our backs now. And hug the legs into the body. So the hips are against the wall, and we're just taking a hug to the knees, bringing the knees in close, and then see if you can take the forehead in the direction of the knees. Really to try to curl yourself up into a tiny little ball, massaging that mid-back region on the floor. Releasing the head back down to the floor, making sure those hips are really close to the wall. We're going to come into a wall malasana. So bringing your feet to the wall. Now again, if you don't have use of a wall this much space of a wall, you can do malasana as you normally would with the feet on the floor. I'm going to suggest that we bring the arms to the inner thigh, inner calf area, just to feel a little bit of weight on the legs. So we're working through external rotation, we're working through inner thigh lengthening, and we're just going to encourage the knees to drop out to the side. Palms turned upwards, we're receiving any positive energy that we might be needing from the world right now. Or maybe you want to be giving. And now, as a contrast, these arms are quite active at the moment, but now I'd just like you to allow them to drop down by the side. And just notice if there's anywhere in this pose that you are resisting, anywhere that you're holding or fighting. And you might need to adjust, so you're just giving in to this position. Just allowing yourself to be. So we can use yin as a physical embodiment of meditation. So really working in each posture to train your mind in a way to stay present and to stay with you, with yourself. Take a deep breath in through the nose here. And as you exhale through the mouth, sigh. And then taking those legs out in a kind of wide angle, so back into our dragonfly. We're going to let the legs open out. So we've got the legs fully supported by the wall. Know that if you're not using the wall, you can hang the legs in space. All that means is it's a little bit more work for you, especially your core. You know, you can have the thighs resting on the side of the bed even, so just that little bit of support is going to help you. Now this is an excellent position to come into, especially when it comes to opening out the inner thighs, because naturally gravity will do its work here and it will move the feet out to the side. So just allow gravity to do its job. Remember that everybody will have a different sort of range in this position, and you don't want to force or strain. If you feel at any moment like you've gone too far, you can always come back, take the edge off. Remember, we're working from that 70%, so no force. No strain, no fighting. With the use of that passive and restorative breath, we're just allowing the body to give in. And now I invite you to close your eyes at any given moment that feels right for you. Being fully aware of the weight in the back of the pelvis on the floor. Sensation you are experiencing in your hips, on your inner thighs, that breath with intention to the belly, to the legs and hips. Using the breath to hydrate you, nourishing each and individual cell. Through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and then taking your hand under the thighs and just bringing the legs back together, bringing the knees into the body. We're going to give a little squeeze of the shins, squeeze those thighs into the body. Maybe you want to take a few tucks of the forehead to the knees. Up the wall, and we're going to leave the left leg long, and we're going to bend the right leg and place the right foot in the middle of the left thigh, so the right foot is sitting above the left knee. Now as we come into a variation of eye of the needle, we want to move this knee out to the side, so naturally it's going to want to internally rotate to relieve any sort of opening out through the hip. But we want to really work with external rotation. So using that right hand, you might need to just guide that knee out to the side. Maybe you can already feel an opening in the outer right hip. Maybe you need a little bit more from this posture. So if you do, you're going to bring the left foot flat to the wall and start to bend the left knee. So left foot is on the wall and the knee is traveling closer to you, so is that right foot. Right knee is staying with that external rotation. We haven't let it lift and move in towards our chest. If you can, try and ground your sit bones into the wall so you feel the knobbly bits of the sit bones at least, semi in contact with the wall. And you can walk that left foot as low down the wall as you need to. Of course, the lower you take it, the more intense this posture becomes. Just allow the arms to rest down by the floor, and remember we've come to your own personal edge. Not my edge, not the person that you're practicing with's edge, but your edge for your body. Now naturally when we come into some hip openers, it's very normal for the body to put up a little bit of resistance. Just really be mindful of what is a pain restrictor, so protecting you from pain, and what is just tension that you can breathe through. So knowing and identifying that difference in your own body takes time. Maybe you can identify that for yourself today. Maybe you're not so sure yet. So as the hips start to respond, maybe you can start to walk that left foot lower down the wall. Maybe you need to release off a little bit and take it higher. Do what you need to do to feel this in a powerful but passive way. we direct the breath into that side hip. Use the breath to create space. Almost like the little signal that tells your body it's okay. We're relieving out of this stretch for a moment. We're going to take the right foot and send the right leg long. We're going to bend the left leg. So left leg is now bending, and we're going to place the ankle on the mid-right thigh. Making sure it's not on the knee joint, it is safely on the thigh area. And we're going to use the hand to guide that knee out to the side. Now it's very normal to find that you have one hip that is as loose as anything, and then the other side just doesn't want to play games. Just be mindful of those imbalances in your own body. So then you have the option of making this more intense on this leg, so you can take the right foot to the wall, and you can start to bend the right knee. Notice how that changes the sensation in the outer hip. And as we did with our other side, we're working with keeping that left knee out to the side and keeping the sit bones close to the wall. With allowing your body to completely give in here. As the connective tissues start to open up and respond to this position, maybe you can walk that right foot a little bit lower down, playing around with that sensation in the outer hip, enough for you to feel an opening but not pain. Nourishing breath. Starting to walk that right foot higher up the wall. We're going to stretch out the left leg, and we're bringing both legs to a bent position now. So this is the last pose before our relaxation. Come to tiptoes and take the arms out wide. We're going to allow the legs to drop over to the right side. See if you can send the head over towards the left. Maybe bringing the flats of the feet completely in contact with the wall. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale through the mouth and sigh. Come up onto your tiptoes and start to walk the feet back. And bring the legs over to the other side. Know that the knees might not go all the way over, they might be a little bit higher in space, and that's fine. But try and keep the shoulder blades attached to the floor. See if you can bring the flats of the feet in contact with the wall if you're using one. We send the gaze away from the legs. Feeling that twist naturally massage our internal organs, detoxify our digestion and our liver. Take a deep breath in here for me through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And again, walking the legs back to center. We're going to take the same twist but with a variation. So I'm going to give you the option of crossing the arms above the head. So we're holding on to either elbow. You can keep them down by the sides if that's better for you. We're going to allow the legs to drop over to the right. And then see if you can straighten the legs out. So that's just an option. It makes it a lot more of an intense twist. And of course, the arms being crossed overhead as well, that intensifies it. So just come into this version if it works for your body and your practice. You can as well send the gaze to look away from the legs as we did before. Take a bend to the legs and start to walk the legs back to center. And then allow the legs to fall over to the left side. Shoulder blades in contact with the floor, maybe stretching those legs out long. Can you send that gaze to look away from the legs? Just feeling that twist stem naturally from your thoracic spine, mid-spine region. Back to center, and I want you to stretch the legs up the wall, coming to candle. Release the arms down by the sides, palms turned upwards. We're going to take this as our relaxation pose today. Now, if you would like to come into a more traditional Shavasana, you can relax the legs down onto the floor. You don't have to stay in candle, but it's such a lovely pose to hold for a long period of time. So I'm really going to suggest and invite you to hold this candle pose while I guide you through your relaxation. So really try and, even though the legs are lengthened, really just try and encourage them to relax into the wall. So the wall is bearing the weight of the legs, not your own body. The eyes are closed and heavy. Belly soft. And as you come into this relaxation, know that this is your time to rest. Your time to recharge. As with our electronic devices, we will plug them in to regain life. Allow this to be your moment to recharge and renew. Just feeling any toxins, any tension drain out from the soles of your feet, dripping down the legs, and being absorbed into the earth. And as you lie here, I'd like you to envision a bright, warm, orange sunshine shining over you. And you can feel the rays of the sun warming and soothing the soles of your feet. So as we all do naturally in the sunshine, we naturally relax. we allow ourselves to unfold and soften. So allow the soles of the feet to soften, the toes to relax. And allow this positive light to melt away any remaining tension or any negativity that might be in the body. And it allows it to melt down the legs, down the thighs, out of the hips, and soften into the floor. So the legs feel lighter, free. Maybe you can experience for yourself now that there's a sense of energy in the soles of the feet. Maybe a tingling, maybe just an awareness of life. Prepare to bring you out of this relaxation. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then slowly start to bend the knees, drawing them into your chest. Giving the legs a little hug and a squeeze. In your own time, slowly coming over onto one side. You're going to take your time to come up into a seated position with me. No rush. Just finding your way onto your mat. And we're going to bring the hands to the knees. We're going to finish with that breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to lift the shoulders up to the ears. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Shoulders drop. 2 more times. Deep breath in. We lift. Exhale. Tension away. Last time. Deep breath. We lift. And out. Hands find prayer. Blessings of health and happiness. Om Shanti. Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I think that's probably one of my favourite yoga practices to do. So hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Let me know how you found it, let me know how you're feeling, and if you have any requests on themes for yoga practices, of course, let me know. Tomorrow I'm doing a live stream of a podcast at 11, and we're going to discuss sleep tips to aid in disrupted sleep, which a lot of us experience right now. So please do come along 11 o'clock tomorrow, and then 11 on Sunday is my power yoga. So for those of you that enjoy more of a fast pace, or like to complement both practices, because really we should be doing both, then come along and join me. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all soon. Bye.